Have you ever stopped to think about how many times violence has been used as a solution and only made things worse? Have you ever wondered why, even knowing that aggression solves nothing, we still see so much violence around us in the streets, in homes, in words, in thoughts? Today's reflection touches on one of the most urgent and necessary themes of our time: violence. And before you think we're going to talk about politics or take sides, let me be clear, this space is spiritual. Here we don't discuss party flags, electoral preferences, or political ideologies. Our commitment is to ethical and moral conduct, because only that is what truly matters before divine law. Before we begin, subscribe to the Messages from the Soul channel and leave a like. This way you support this work of love and help bring comfort to more hearts. Recent events, both here and in other parts of the world, show us something alarming. Violence is becoming normalized. People are justifying aggression with political, religious, and moral arguments. But is there any real justification? Can any cause, however noble it may seem, validate violence? The answer is no. And this is not a personal opinion, it is an age-old teaching of the gospel. Jesus, the supreme master of love and compassion, never encouraged violence, not even when he had every human reason to defend himself or retaliate. Think about it. He was slandered, persecuted, betrayed by someone close to him, abandoned by his friends, unjustly judged, publicly tortured, and executed in the most cruel way possible. And at no point did he respond with aggression, hatred, or violence. There is an episode that perfectly illustrates this teaching. On the Mount of Olives, when the soldiers came to arrest Jesus, Peter, moved by love and the desire to protect his master, drew a sword and attacked one of the soldiers, cutting off his ear. It was a moment of extreme tension, of blatant injustice. Anyone might think it was right to defend himself, but Jesus immediately rebuked Peter, healed the soldier's ear, and said something that has transcended the centuries: those who live by the sword die by the sword. This phrase is not merely poetic, it is the revelation of a spiritual law as precise as the law of gravity, the law of cause and effect. Everything you do returns to you. If you sow violence, violence will return. If you strike with iron, you will be struck with iron. If you attack, whether with your hands, your words, or your emotions, you will be attacked in return. This is an inescapable truth, and this lesson doesn't just apply to major political or social issues. It applies to all areas of life. At home, when one spouse physically or emotionally abuses the other; at work, when a colleague publicly humiliates another, or when a boss abuses their authority; among neighbors, when petty disputes turn into hatred and acts of revenge; in schools, where bullying destroys young lives and plants seeds of pain that last for decades; on social media, where violent words are hurled without thinking about the consequences. Violence has never been, is never, and never will be the solution to anything. It doesn't solve problems, it multiplies them. It doesn't bring justice, it perpetuates injustice. It doesn't build, it only destroys. And most seriously, it doesn't bring us closer to God. On the contrary, it distances us from Him and from our own divine essence. Now answer me honestly in the comments. In the silence of your heart, how many times have you acted violently, even if it wasn't physically? How many times have you attacked someone with words calculated to cause pain? How many times have you been emotionally cruel to someone you loved, using what you knew about that person as a weapon to hurt them where it hurts most? How many times have you wished ill on someone, even if only in thought? And what did that bring you? Peace, happiness, spiritual growth? Or did it bring more pain, more conflict, more inner emptiness, more weight on your conscience? Divine law is perfect in its wisdom and justice. It returns to each person exactly what we offer to the world. If you offer love, you will receive love. If you offer understanding, you will receive understanding. If you offer forgiveness, you will be forgiven. But if you offer violence, aggression, hatred, and cruelty, that too will return. Perhaps not immediately, perhaps not in the way you expect, but it will certainly return. Politicians come and go, governments change, parties rise and fall, economic situations shift. All of this is ephemeral, temporary, fleeting like the waves of the sea. But the consequences of our actions remain. They are inscribed in our conscience, in our spiritual record, in our karma. They accompany us not only in this life, but through the many lives we'll still have ahead of us. Nothing justifies physical aggression. The human body is a sacred temple of the spirit, and violating it is a grave offense against God's laws. Nothing justifies verbal abuse. Words have immense power. They can heal or destroy. Using words as weapons to humiliate, offend, or destroy another person's dignity is as serious as physical violence, because emotional scars often take longer to heal. Nothing justifies emotional abuse. Manipulating, using emotional blackmail, deliberately causing psychological suffering, destroying someone's self-esteem. All of these are forms of violence that leave deep scars on the soul. The right choice, the choice aligned with Christ, the choice that brings us closer to our true spiritual nature, is always that of peace. Not the passive peace of those who remain silent in the face of injustice, but the active peace of those who seek solutions through dialogue, understanding, forgiveness, compassion, and true justice that is not based on revenge, but on restoration and transformation. Jesus showed us the way. When he was attacked, he did not retaliate. When he was insulted, he did not insult back. When he was unjustly condemned, he did not curse his accusers. And when he was nailed to the cross, agonizing in unimaginable pain, he did not curse those who crucified him. On the contrary, he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This is the standard we should strive for, not because it's easy, but precisely because it's the most difficult. It is in the challenge of loving when they want us to hate, of forgiving when they hurt us, of seeking peace when they want to drag us into conflict, that we find our true spiritual greatness. So, what are you going to do from now on? Are you going to continue in the cycle of violence, perpetuating pain and reaping pain, or are you going to choose a different path? Let us remain with the gospel, with its eternal and immutable teachings, and not with the fleeting human illusions. Political fashions change, ideologies transform. Today's fiery speeches are forgotten tomorrow, but the truths of the gospel remain forever, because they are universal spiritual truths. Make a conscious choice now. Choose to be an instrument of peace and not of violence. Choose to build bridges instead of erecting walls. Choose dialogue instead of confrontation. Choose love instead of hate. Choose forgiveness instead of revenge. Choose light instead of darkness. This choice doesn't just change the world around you, it changes first and foremost the world within you. And when you change inside, when you become a more peaceful, more loving, more compassionate person, you inevitably positively influence everyone around you, creating waves of transformation that spread far beyond what you can imagine. Start today. Start now. The next time you feel angry, stop and breathe. The next time you want to retaliate against an offense, choose loving silence. The next time someone hurts you, remember Jesus on the cross forgiving his tormentors and choose to do the same. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the example of peace that is so lacking. Be the voice of reason and love amidst the chaos of violence. And trust that, by doing your part, however small it may seem, you are fulfilling your role in the divine plan for the evolution of humanity. Peace begins within you. Transformation begins within you. The new world begins within you. Before you leave, subscribe to the Message from the Soul channel and share this video. This helps us strengthen this current of light and hope.